Hi, my name is Bobby Clue, Executive Director of the Somerset-Pulaski County Chamber of Commerce, and I'd like to welcome you to the premiere episode of our Chamber of Commerce Luncheon Spotlight. For our January luncheon, we are very happy to have a great lineup of speakers to bring to you this month. First and foremost, we're bringing you Mark Brenzel, the CEO of Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital. He's going to be talking with us about a weight loss initiative called Pounds Off Pulaski that we actually partner with the hospital on. They're going to be doing that kickoff today. Then, as always, we'll go and we'll talk with two local businesses through our Two for Tuesday program. They're going to have a couple of minutes each to talk about their businesses with us here locally. We're very excited to have this month Dr. Eric Woodruff of Profitable Green Solutions and Patricia Nadim of Curves of Somerset. They're going to be with us. And then we bring you some of the best speakers that the state of Kentucky has to offer. And for the month of January, we bring you Mr. Bill Bissett, President of the Kentucky Coal Association. Thanks a lot for tuning in today. We've got a great program for you, so stay tuned for all that and more. Also, if you'll notice towards the back of the room, this is our kickoff, the month of January, for our Pounds Off Pulaski initiative. We partner with Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital on this. This is, in fact, the second annual Pounds Off Pulaski Challenge for our community. And I'd like to ask CEO Mark Brenzel from Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital and Miss Wilson as well to come up here if they would. And I believe that they would like to do an official kickoff for the Pounds Off Pulaski initiative. I see Susan. Is Mark here? There he is right there. And I'm going to introduce them and ask them to come up.
Thank you, Bobby, and Happy New Year to everyone. Over the last 3 or 4 months, everybody realizes that healthcare has been in the news a great deal regarding the healthcare reform. And one of the points of controversy about healthcare reform is that a lot of people feel like their insurance premiums are going to go up. And so there's been a lot of conversation about that. How that relates to Pounds Off Pulaski is one of the things I think in all this debate that we sometimes forget is that our healthcare is actually in our own control. The best way to reduce insurance premiums is not worry about what the government's doing or what the health insurance companies are doing, but to take better care of ourselves. One of the best ways, especially in this part of this region of the country and this region of the state, is to do a better job managing what we eat, how much we eat, and how much exercise we get. So Lake Cumberland Hospital with the Chamber of Commerce, we're excited about our second annual edition of POP, Pounds Off Pulaski. It's more or less a big loser type of format. We had about 180 people sign up last year, and about 60 completed it, and we had some really significant improvement. So it's appropriate at this time of year with New Year's resolutions to try to take better care of ourselves. And Susan is going to introduce how you sign up for Pounds Off Pulaski.
Thanks, Mark. I do want to thank Mark Brenzel for giving us the opportunity to participate in this. It's always great as a hospital to be able to be involved in special community activities. And so I look out over this crowd, and what I see is the strong and the brave and the true, because anybody who can get out in this weather has to be pretty fit, right? Wouldn't you agree? Pounds Off Pulaski gives you an opportunity to make the best opportunity you can for a healthy lifestyle. It's designed for anybody who's 18 and over, who is a resident or who works in Pulaski County. So it's a county-wide event. It's 12 weeks in duration. We have weekly meetings every Monday evening at the hospital in the conference centers on the basement level, and those begin at 5:15. The weigh-ins begin at 5:15. It's followed by a speaker, and all of our speakers will provide special information on how to help you reach your goals. You'll choose your own goal of weight loss, and we'll be covering subjects that are involved in exercise, in lifestyle changes, and in just healthy living, nutrition, we'll have all kinds of speakers that will help you to have the tools that you need in order to be successful. On the table, you'll notice there's a flyer, and on the back, it'll give you information about everything that's involved in Pound Soft Pulaski. And you can see that itemized. We encourage you to weigh in today if you'd like to do that. We'll be weighing people in from 1 until 2 after the Chamber of Commerce meeting. Then we'll be weighing people in again from 5 until 7 this evening here at the Center for Rural Development. If that time is not convenient for you, please join us next Monday night, January 13th, and we'll start weighing people in at 5 o'clock p.m. You can register then, you can weigh in then, and you can stay for the program and get yourself off to a good start for 2014. I want to thank you for the opportunity to share this information with you, and I encourage you to take it back to your places of business. If 25 of you want to sign up, we'll actually come to your place of business and weigh you. You don't even have to come here to the center or to the hospital to weigh in. Please feel free to get in touch with either Crystal Cox at the hospital, and she's back in the corner waving, yeah, or you can get in touch with me. We're happy to answer questions after the Chamber program today as well. Y'all have a wonderful day.
This month, our first speaker, our first business, Dr. Eric Woodruff from Profitable Green Solutions. Dr. Woodruff, if you'd like to come up, we'd love to hear from you.
Thanks. Most of you who've heard my last name, Woodruff, probably associate that with my wife, who's Andrea Woodruff. She's the famous doctor in town. And I also apologize because she runs Kentucky Breast Care, and I'm not going to spend the next 90 seconds talking about breasts, so I apologize for that because I know it's exciting to a lot of you. But anyway, I would like to spend a few minutes talking about my business. And if you look up at the screen, that's Profitable Green Solutions, just to give you an introduction to what we do and how we help businesses. I do think there's a lot of opportunity to help businesses here in Kentucky. A little bit about me. I also have a doctorate degree in engineering, specifically energy efficiency and helping businesses reduce cost and be more cost competitive through energy efficiency. Been doing it about 20 years. I've got clients up there on the right. And I have some flyers if you're more interested at the table up here in the round table at the front. I've written some books and had the opportunity to work with some interesting people as president of an association that's in 90 countries, and most of my time I'm not even in Somerset, but I get to work with Colin Powell or T. Boone Pickens or most recently Arnold Schwarzenegger. And since it is kind of a commercial format, we actually did a little snippet video that I'd like to show you a little bit about our company. So if you look up at the screen, you'll see this. It's about 1 minute long.
He has been sharing expertise and experience all over the world
on helping those small businesses and medium-sized businesses cut costs and improve profits, and all the same time going green. So it's just a perfect time. Right. Energy costs are going to be going up.
But you're showing us a different way.
Absolutely. There's no sacrifice with a lot of these ideas. In fact, some of them are no cost or can generate immediate cash flow.
Saved companies about $100 million over just a few years. And I think that we can help a lot of Kentucky businesses be more cost competitive as well. So if you'd like to learn more about it, and I didn't mention that all those $100 million is a 4-year payback or 20% return on investment or better than that. So if you'd like to learn more, feel free to come up. Appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm the Curve lady. Everybody, I think, knows about it. I've been a member since 2007, but the new owner in 2010. And I'm so excited today because Curve, again, is at the cutting edge. We are having a new trend coming up as Jillian Michael decided to partner with us. Now we're having some classes every day for 30 minutes, and they are coached by Jillian. We are very excited. We've been doing it in our club for a few weeks already, and it's really helped our members to have better mobility, better strength, and they are all excited about it, every ages, because she has advanced move and also modified move. Now, everybody can do it and improve their health. Now, we're having a commercial. Maybe it will be better than hearing my French accent. Please have the commercial.
You kickstart weight loss and reclaim your health with me and the all-new Curves. I've created new cutting-edge workouts so you lose weight and get into amazing shape. You will be stronger, healthier, and the happiest you've ever been. And a Curves coach is there for everyone. We're affordable and everywhere. All you have to do is show up, give us 30 minutes, then go love your life. Visit Curves.com for a week free.
Donc you must wonder, and I was wondering too when they announced that in November at Curve, I said, why Jillian? Why she wants to be with Curve? Jillian was not always in that shape. When she finished high school, she was carrying 175 pounds, and she just is tall as 5'2". Donc she's petite, and she was obese. And she decided to go to Curve at that time, it was 20 years ago. And she got a great result, and is how she started her journey on wellness and fitness. Donc she wanted to give back a little bit about Curve, and it's why she joined us. And we are so excited, and now we don't have any excuses, lady, to get in shape, because we have Jillian now in town. Have a good evening, and see you soon.
And at this time, we would like to show our appreciation for our ambassadors. If you are present and you are an ambassador, you're in our ambassador program, would you please stand for just a moment and be recognized? Thank you all so much. We appreciate all of our ambassadors. We have over 35 ambassadors in our program, and they truly are vital to the success of this chamber. And they do so many things to help strengthen us as far as special events, attending all of the special events, the ribbon cuttings, networking, bringing out new member packets. They just are very vital to our success, and we appreciate each and every one. But each month we do pick one through a point scale system to be our ambassador of the month. And this month, this ambassador has only been a member of the program for 6 months, but she has done a fantastic job. She's brought in one new member last month, helped with the luncheon, she delivered a new member packet, and has been very active in our chamber functions. So please help me to congratulate our Ambassador of the Month, Ronette Young from Bluegrass Cellular. Thank you, Ronette. At this time, I'll have Megan Dameron to come up and to welcome our new members.
Good afternoon. It is my pleasure during the 2014 year to announce our new members, and we do have several with us today. If you are here and your name is mentioned, please stand and remain standing, and we'll recognize you as a group. Affordable Seamless Guttering, Ricky Lane. Shea Renee Salon, Renee Ruby. Cumberland Machinery Movers and Industrial Services, David Bennett. Eclipse Engineering, Alan Robinson. Humana Care Source, Brittany Anderson. Mary Kay Independent Consultant, Renette Young. Stringer Brothers Concrete Finishing, Randy Stringer. And the Machine Shop, Mike the Machine Bruce. Thank you all for your commitment to the Somerset-Pulaski County Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Megan. Well, today's corporate sponsor is the Kentucky Coal Association, and our speaker for our luncheon today is Bill Bissett, who on February 3rd, 2010, was named the president of the Kentucky Coal Association. He was previously employed as the Chief of Staff, Senior Vice President for Communications of Marshall University, located in Huntington, West Virginia. Prior to working for his alma mater, he served as Vice President of Public Relations for Charles Ryan Associates, an integrated marketing firm with offices in Charleston, West Virginia, and Richmond, Virginia. During his tenure at CRA, he was instrumental in the establishment of Friends of Coal campaign. A native of West Virginia, Mr. Bissett has also served as Director of Communications for both the West Virginia Department of Transportation and the West Virginia Department of Agriculture. He also has experience in television marketing and advertising and was a columnist for the Charleston Gazette. Mr. Bissett earned his bachelor's and master's degrees from Marshall University in addition to receiving his commission in the United States Army. He is currently pursuing a doctoral degree in education. So please join me in welcoming Bill Bissett to our podium today.
Thanks so very much. Great to be back here in Somerset, and always nice to see my good friend that leads your chamber, Bobby Ebelhair, who's a really nice, no, Bobby Clue. I'm sorry, Bobby. I apologize. But seriously, Bobby's a dear friend, Andrea as well. I know they're expecting the birth of their first child, which we're excited about as well, but also good to be back in Somerset. I follow this city very closely for numerous reasons, Congressman Rogers obviously being one of them, but to me, Somerset is really on the cusp of our coal industry, especially Eastern Kentucky, especially Appalachia. And what's going on in coal, I think, is important. Some of you I know who I talked to beforehand obviously have a connection to coal, whether it's a personal connection or a corporate connection or even with the public utilities that are here. But I think we all need to be focused on the connection between Kentucky coal, its production, its usage, our economy, and our way of life. Because I think we take it for granted. We showed up here, we knew it was going to be cold out today. We knew that. But still, in the 21st century in America, we knew the lights were going to be on. This room was going to be warm. There was going to be food prepared and preserved in the back here for our enjoyment. We just expected that. No one questioned, boy, I hope there's lunch. We knew there'd be lunch. And that's what energy provides. That's what coal provides. And I think we often take it for granted. We have to be careful about that because the world around us and our country is changing right now. And I'll talk a little more about that. Let me start with the most important thing, and this is under orders of my wife. If you'll check out the PowerPoint over here. That's my 2-year-old, and we just had a 5-week-old born. That's Maggie, the 5-week-old, and Molly, the 2-year-old. And I like to start with photos of them because it kind of calibrates my brain away. But, you know, I'm a big fan of mixed martial arts and boxing, so we've been fighting the girls a lot in our living room. That's Molly with her boots on and Maggie kind of in the headlock there. Molly's way ahead right now on wins, but Maggie won recently on a default due to a full diaper. So she did win once now right now. But, you know, I think about the future with them. That's something that, as they've entered my life 2 years ago, I think a lot more of where we're going. And I think that's important to us as we not only think of our families, but we think of our future. So let me talk briefly about the KCA. We're honored to be a sponsor today. We represent more than 90% of the production of coal in Kentucky, and that's really our focus, the production and sale of Kentucky coal. And as you heard in my biography, we're also very involved in the Friends of Coal campaign, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with through the license plate stickers and our many sponsorships around the Commonwealth. Kentucky right now is third in the United States in coal production. We've been that for a while. Currently, about 91 million tons of coal is what we produce in Kentucky. We have 12,300 men and women every day who are mining coal to keep the lights on, literally. What's important to remember is for every one coal miner, 3 other Kentuckians at least earn their livelihood because of that coal miner. It's an industry that needs a lot of support systems to do what they do. I know our PhD in engineering is aware of that. It's challenging work, and it takes a lot of support to make that happen. In Western Kentucky it's our larger coal field now in the west. I'll talk more about that in a moment, at about 51%. Our Eastern Kentucky coal field, as you probably read about, has decreased slightly and is now at 49% of our production. So still pretty evenly matched east and west at current. We're 5th in the nation in electricity production. That's a big deal. We mine coal here and we use it to create electricity. The vast majority of our coal is for electricity generation. And because of that, it makes sense that Kentucky uses more than 90% of its electricity generation is from coal. We have it in the ground here in Kentucky, and we take advantage of that. Because of it, we have manufacturers. And I often talk about manufacturing because I think we're so electricity dependent. You talk about aluminum smelting or automobile part production or Lexmark or so many of the different heavy manufacturers we have, but every business is dependent on electricity. Every business has that aspect of their budget of what they're paying for electricity. We heard earlier about the importance of conservation and sustainability efforts and how it can benefit your business, and that's absolutely true. Coal is a precious resource, and I would submit to you that electricity is a precious resource. I mean, whether it's buying reams of paper or furniture or electricity, to make your business successful, you have to be frugal in what you do, and we should look at electricity the same way. But that low-cost kilowatt per hour really benefits us, and when Governor Beshear travels overseas and talks to people in India and other countries and says, you need to come to the Commonwealth of Kentucky, it's that kilowatt per hour that makes them want to come here, and that's why we need to protect that electricity rate. You can see about 1/4 of our coal stays here, I always like to say domestic to the Commonwealth of Kentucky, at about 25 million tons. Most of our coal, again, for electricity production, goes to the southeastern United States. That's where it goes to create electricity. And a lot of those states, if you notice, are states that have survived the economic downturn and the loss of manufacturing jobs. So we are very much connected to how this country makes things in the southeast as our coal is produced and used for electricity. There's a direct connection there. So I'm often asked, what are the conditions right now in Kentucky's coal fields? You know, how are things going? And journalists who I deal with a lot often say, if you could take this very complex discussion and drill it down to one word, what would that one word be? That word is change. And whether it's the energy sector, whether it's, I think, even our economy, when you look at the global implications of what we do, everything is changing right now. Technology, the world around us. But with coal, things are changing, and they're going to continue. We're changing as an industry. We're embracing that change. But it does create some uncertainty. It does create some concern. But as I talk to the people I work for, the many coal companies in Kentucky, they see that change coming, and they're adapting to it. But it's very different in our 2 coal fields, which is something I think it's important we remember. We have 2 coal fields in Kentucky. We have our Eastern Kentucky coal field that's in the Appalachian Coal Basin. We have our Western Kentucky coal field, which, as you can see, is in the Illinois Coal Basin. There's good news right now going on in Western Kentucky. It's that simple. We have the expansion of mines. We even have new mines coming online here in the short term, which is a big deal. That's a big deal when we have to sort of fight against some people in D.C. who are not supportive of our production and use of coal. But Western Kentucky is growing. In Eastern Kentucky, it's a very different story. And again, I think that's much more relevant to you all today. You look at Eastern Kentucky, I like to say it's ground zero for what's happening to our industry. Eastern Kentucky has seen more losses, a greater drop in production than any other geographic region in this country. And you look at this point, since January 1, 2012, we have lost more than 6,000 direct coal mining jobs, more than 6,000. And remember, like I told you, there is at least a 3-to-1 ratio. So that's an additional 18,000 people out of work as well, and these are Kentuckians. What's also important to remember, though, are the induced jobs. Now, what are induced jobs? Those are the restaurants, hotels, gas stations, all the other people who are dependent on that coal field economy. and the money that those direct and indirect miners make. That's a serious concern. When I talk to the New York Times or Washington Post, and they say, well, what's it like in Eastern Kentucky? I say, call anyone in Eastern Kentucky. Just call anybody. And they'll tell you how bad the economy is there right now. It's a serious concern because coal is the main economic driver. And it's having a real impact on everyone's life there, and in many ways, lives beyond the coal fields. That 3-to-1 job ratio are not just in coal fields. That's seen in Somerset, that's seen in Corbin, that's seen in Lexington, that's seen in Louisville. We also have a loss of production, down about 30%. That's a serious concern. Right now, we're trying to hang on with where we are. So where are we right now? I talk a lot, and Donna McClure from Senator McConnell's office has heard this before. I talk a lot about how bad it is in Eastern Kentucky. But I think I've done too good of a job with that. We're still mining 40 million tons of coal in Eastern Kentucky right now. That's a lot of coal. And those are the first quarter projections for 2013 you'll see on the screen. We're projected to do about 40 million tons. Next year, maybe down a little bit, but not much. The drop that we saw from January 2012 is not near what we're seeing now in 2013. It's leveling out, we think. The trend is concerning, but it's far less a precipitous drop as what we've had. So if you would take Eastern Kentucky and make it a separate state of the Union, where would it rank in coal production? It'd be 7th. I don't think we realize that. Do not misunderstand what I'm saying. And I know Senator McConnell and Congressman Rogers are very eloquent on this. We have a serious problem in Eastern Kentucky, and we recognize that. But at the same time, we're still mining a lot of coal. And I think we need to remember that. You know, I applaud the initiative of Congressman Rogers and Governor Beshear to do the SOAR conference, to look at economic development. I would suggest that it's always a good time to look at economic development, especially for Appalachia, whether you're in good times or bad. But at the same time, coal is still a very important part of the equation, and they want to play a role as we move forward and figure out solutions for Appalachia. Is it challenging? You bet. I'm from Appalachia. I'm from West Virginia. It's very challenging. But there's success there, and there's still that economic driver, and there's still that low-cost electricity that coal provides for us. So is there a future for Eastern Kentucky coal? And I'm asked this question all the time. There are more people living longer, using more electricity. That is the fact. That's going to happen not just in Kentucky, not just in this country, but in this world. There's about 1.4 billion people on planet Earth right now without electricity. That's a lot of people. Guess what? They want to come to their chamber meetings and have a warm building and lights and lunch, just like you did. They're going to have that in many ways the way we developed it, through coal-fired electricity. So that's an opportunity for Eastern Kentucky. Technology changes everything. I'm going to talk about this a little later, but we have low sulfur coal in Eastern Kentucky. When technologies come online with scrubbers, that benefit is no longer, market benefit of low sulfur coal is no longer there. Because of that, that's changed the market dynamic, but technology can be a solution as well for Eastern Kentucky. Natural gas is our big competitor right now, and its price is very volatile. It has a history of it. It will go up in price. Pretty much any energy analyst you talk to will say that. That's a big deal. That makes coal more competitive, and specifically Eastern Kentucky coal. We'll have a new president in 1,036 days. That could change the energy policies of this country. I think as we move forward, you're going to see energy discussed more and more, and especially during the 2014 Senate race. And the thing I think is most important, the thing that gives me confidence about Eastern Kentucky and where we're headed with coal, is I follow market analysts and investors very closely. And as long as the investors are still with Eastern Kentucky and the companies there, there's confidence. These are folks located in New York that have no connection really in many ways to Eastern Kentucky or Appalachia, who still think it's a good bet for your dollars. That's important. That's important. That's people that I think still show that confidence, that opportunity, that future. So that we need to take away. I can also say the analysts that I follow very closely still have a lot of confidence. Now I'll tell you, 2012, you go back a year, they were very pessimistic about Eastern Kentucky coal and Appalachian coal, Central App coal. Now that's changed. It's going to continue, but it's going to change. So let's kind of expand to sort of a statewide approach. What's going on with coal in Kentucky in kind of a larger market sense? Right now, it's simply a market condition between us and natural gas in many cases. Natural gas, with the shale boom that I'm sure a lot of you have read about, is plentiful. It's cheap. It's being affected by its price right now due to the cold weather and due to international opportunities and a whole bunch of other factors. Natural gas is going to go through a lot of changes too in the future. Most interestingly, I think, is we seem to be getting the same critics. Sierra Club, who has been very critical of coal, is now very critical of natural gas, mostly due to some funding they've received. So I think you've got a lot of dynamics, some political, that are going to affect natural gas in the future moving forward. I mentioned low sulfur. That is an impact. That used to be a real opportunity for West Virginia coal and Eastern Kentucky coal. Now with the technology we use with electricity, that low sulfur benefit's no longer there. We can use that Western Kentucky coal where it was kind of taken off the market for a while. That's been a change agent for us. And that's going to continue, I think. Could that maybe be an opportunity overseas? We don't know yet. We're hopeful. Like it or not, we have an anti-coal administration in Washington, D.C. I can't really say it any more simply. President Obama won his second term, which I think gives him the confidence, granted he wasn't elected by Kentuckians for the most part, but it gives him the confidence to continue his policies less about the production of coal, which he did in the first term, and now more about the usage of coal. That seems to be his focus now, is focusing on the usage of coal and sort of trying to curtail it not just domestically, but also internationally. Here are two of his newest appointments. This is Gina McCarthy of the EPA and Dr. Moniz of the Secretary of Energy. Dr. Moniz, we believe, is a little bit more corporate friendly, let's say. He has a background mostly in natural gas, recently published an article on fracking. But Gina McCarthy, unlike her predecessor of Lisa Jackson, who you may have heard of, is a much more legalistic person. We felt Administrator Jackson, her predecessor in the EPA, was much more, let's say, passionate and political and outspoken. Administrator McCarthy is very careful. She meets with us, she talks to us, she is very attentive, but we believe she's going to be far more strategic and legalistic moving forward in curtailing the use of coal in this country. And that is a serious concern because she has 4 years to do it. This is a speech I want to specifically draw your attention to the President made at Georgetown on June 25th of this year, because I think it has a real chilling effect to it. I'm going to read this quickly because I think it's important. I don't usually listen to the President. He's a very good speaker, but I tend to read the words of his speech because I retain them better. Today I'm calling for an end of public financing for new coal plants overseas unless they deploy carbon capture technologies or there's no other viable way for the poorest countries to generate electricity. And I urge other countries to join in this effort. This is trying to take away the international market for coal. Period. Period. And, the President is a smart man. I'm sure he knows that there are people in those 1.4 billion I talked about who are in desperate need of electricity, who will live longer, have education, have health care, have proved food preservation and preparation, and they can get it through coal. That's serious, because as I look for the opportunities for Eastern Kentucky, that international market is a critical component of it. And more importantly, the international world is not really listening to our president. Even Europe, which has been sort of a bastion of renewable energy and windmills and solar panels, has now shifted back to coal in many cases, especially Germany and France. It's interesting to see that I think these words are falling on deaf ears. Why? Because the economics do not work. Let's talk politics for a moment. We have what will be probably the most expensive Senate campaign in the history of this country coming up in 2014. I'm sure you're already reading about this, already seeing about this. I can tell you the coal industry and our coal miners will be watching this race very, very closely. Senator McConnell, as I like to say, has been the chief opponent to this president, bar none. He has stood in his way on many occasions, and we appreciate it greatly. He is an outspoken critic of him, and as Don and I were talking earlier, they are quick to assist, and we appreciate that a great deal. Appreciate his leadership. Secretary Grimes, we met with on the campaign trail for Secretary of State. Her office really doesn't have much interaction with coal, but she seemed very interested about coal, and she has made public comments thus far that we've appreciated. She seems to have a supportive posture, but she lacks specificity right now of how she can be a better supporter of coal than Senator McConnell has, and that's the concern. That's what I think you're going to hear as we move forward to that election season in November, as to who can defend coal better. And it's very concerning when Secretary Grimes has spent time with someone like Senator Harry Reid, who said literally, Coal makes you sick and has a very clear agenda against our industry and against coal, which to me harms the economic condition of Kentucky. So you're going to be hearing a lot more of these two people. I'm sure you're going to be hearing more of these people over the next year. But I would listen to those questions about energy, about economy, and about specifics of what they can do for us, because that, at the end of the day, I think is super critical. And I think you also have to look at who's giving them money. I think that's a major factor in, do they deserve your support or not? So next I'll move on to the lack of an economic rebound. The good news for coal would be the economy starts booming again. When we're making things as a country, we're using a lot of electricity and we're using a lot of coal. I think that'd be good for every energy source, but it's something I think we all want to see. I still don't think we're anywhere near where we want to be yet. But again, when you looked at where that slide I had with the southeastern United States and who gets our coal, if those states do well, we do well. But there's good news on the horizon. This is long term, but this is from the U.S. Chamber. You have to consider that we're going to need more electricity. I talked about this earlier. But if you look at most projections, all forms of energy production are going to increase. We're going to have more nuclear. We're going to have more windmills. We're going to use more coal long term. Is it going to be challenging? You bet. But I think that demand, and I always say it's not an electricity request, that demand is going to be the driver. We have the expectation of 24/7 electricity and want that reliability. Affordability is critical, but reliability, we don't even question. It has to be there for healthcare and for everything we depend upon. So you're going to see more of every form of electricity production. But you look globally, I think this is important. China. Right now the U.S. is about 1.1 billion tons usage of coal. China currently is at 2.8. Let's move forward. You go to 2030, we're going to increase some. You saw that chart from earlier. Whoop, I knocked him off there. Does he come back? Did I knock him out there? Yep, there we go. You look at U.S., it goes up to 211 million tons to 1.3 billion by 2030. But China, look at that increase, 2.08 billion tons additionally by 2030. That's 16 years. There's no way China can mine anywhere near this much coal. Where will they get this coal? From other countries. That can be an opportunity not just for Kentucky, but also eastern Kentucky to meet that demand. I should mention, China will also, like us, increase in everything. Why? They'll have more people using more things that require electricity. I'm a big fan of India. I grew up with a lot of people from India, and I respect the country a great deal. So when I talk about their challenges, I'm not making fun of them, but I think it's important that we understand their culture, their life, what they're dealing with economically. And if you look at this chart, again from the U.S. Chamber, 400 million Indians have no access to electricity. And we consider them our economic challenger, if not in some cases better, right now. I was talking to a young engineer from UK earlier. They're producing engineers as fast as they can. Why? Because they can build and make things. They can make life better for their people. You go to 600 million who currently cook with wood or dung. I was outside of agricultural areas and a person asked me what dung was. I can answer that later if you want to come up and talk to me. But lastly, you look at refrigeration. How many Indians are without refrigeration? You hear about starvation in India, and then you learn a third of their food is thrown away. Spoils. Why? They don't have the refrigeration necessary to get the food to the end user. And I show this graphic because this is a woman making lunch. You know, she's using, it looks like propane there to heat food. And this is life in Mumbai, India, today. But interestingly, you go to Jaipur in India, and you have a cow there in a muddy road. But if you look at the sign behind the cow, it says that you can get a good ISDN connection at a cyber cafe nearby. Now, a friend of mine considers the culture right now there of literally transforming from the 19th century to the 21st in a couple of months. That's a very heady thought. But how will they do that? You know, they want their ISDN line. They want their technology. They want their smartphones. They're going to need a stable electricity supply, not only for those things, but also to create their economy and make life better for everyone. Coal is the way they'll do that. And I hope it'll be U.S. coal. Why? We're exporting more and more coal right now. You see that uptick, that trend is supposed to continue for a long time. More and more U.S. coal going overseas to create electricity. Europe is a whole emerging market for us that we don't even have really quantified yet, but it's going to be a big deal even for maybe Kentucky. And that increase is not just metallurgical coal, the coal we use to make steel. It's also electricity-producing coal. You can see on this chart here the two different colored bars. One is met coal, one is steam coal used for electricity, and the steam coal also increasing, which is that's a change agent. That's different for us. And why? Because it's not just cost, it's not just the price they're paying, it's the reliability. They've got to have that electricity. Briefly, let me talk about Friends of Coal. We're up to 78,000 personal license plates in Kentucky. You see them about everywhere. Having started the campaign in West Virginia, we never thought it would go to this length. It's been so successful in Kentucky, and I give a lot of credit to my Vice President David Moss for his efforts in this. He's a true believer when it comes to this campaign, has done great work. But it's not just license plates. Half that money goes into propelling the campaign forward and telling the story of coal in Kentucky. The other half goes to educate Kentuckians in coal-related fields. And here you see a check presentation to UK mining engineering students. We did it in subsequent years. We're getting ready to give them a much larger check of about $95,000. There's a voluntary checkmark box on that Friends of Coal license plate form. That money's used very carefully, and I like the idea of it helping Kentuckians better themselves, and in many cases from the coal fields, but in many cases just Kentuckians. That's who we want to see do well with that money. So what is the future? To wrap things up, what's the future of Kentucky Coal? Where are we headed? I think there are three main questions that we need to answer that we really can't answer yet, but these are going to be the driving force, I think, as we look forward with a perspective of where's coal going. How we mine coal is a big issue. What permits can we get that we need to mine coal legally is important to the industry I work for. What are the methods available to us by law and also through the court system to extract coal through underground and surface means? How much coal we mine. We're going to monitor that eastern Kentucky amount of production very closely, same in the west. But how much coal will this country mine to meet not only our needs, but that growing international need as well? I think maybe most importantly, who will be the end user of coal? Will we continue to use it here in Kentucky and have that low-cost kilowatt per hour and maintain our manufacturers and hopefully attract new ones? Or will we send it overseas to build economies there, to benefit people's lives in developing countries and also traditional economies like Europe? We don't know the answer to that yet. But like all of you in business in this room, we will go where the market is to sell our coal. It makes sense, and it's good for those people dependent on coal in the Commonwealth. Kind of wraps up my comments for today. I want to thank you so much for your attention. I know we're just about out of time. I'm going to stick around if there's any questions anyone has, so feel free to come up and say hi. But again, thanks so much. Bobby, thanks so much to the Somerset Chamber for having us, and we're proud to be a sponsor. And again, appreciate your time. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Bill, for being here. And as a small token of our appreciation, we want to present you with this 2011 Mountain Workshop pictorial book of our community. Thank you.
Congratulations to our Chamber of Commerce Ambassador of the Month for the month of January, Mrs. Ronette Young from Bluegrass Cellular. Please join us for our upcoming calendar of events. If you would like to be an official sponsor of the Somerset-Pulaski County Chamber of Commerce Luncheon Spotlight or become a member, we would love to have you. Please contact myself or via media. As always, we would like to thank all of our Chamber ambassadors.
Thank you to our world-class sponsors. Thank you to our Chairman's Circle sponsors. Thank you to our Ambassador Circle sponsors.
The Center for Rural Development for hosting today's luncheon, and Schaefer's Catering for the wonderful food for today's event. Thank you for tuning in to the premiere episode of the Chamber of Commerce Luncheon Spotlight. I hope you'll turn in for future episodes of the Luncheon Spotlight on channels 8 and 19.